to the MHA. One more thing, the next part of our evening will take you on a real roller coaster ride, as if I haven't already. We're fortunate enough to have comedian Shelly Iker here tonight with us. You're going to love her routine. When people are impacted by mental illness, it can certainly resemble a roller coaster ride full of bumps and turns, accompanied by the many feelings that vary from being anxious, scared, sad, even euphoric. Imagine living day to day and balancing all of these emotions while at the same time keeping up with the tasks of daily life and work. It can be very, very challenging. So just for some clarity, did you know that 1 in 4 people in the United States has a diagnosable mental illness in a given year? 1 in 4. And depression is the most common mental illness, impacting people from all walks of life in varying degrees. Why is it that we're afraid, we'll volunteer, we have some physical malady, but we won't volunteer, we suffer from depression? You know, why is it the stigma that my wife feared even trying to get medication for her depression because of the stigma associated with actually even improving her condition? Well, the good news is that depression is also one of the most treatable disorders you can have, more treatable than heart disease, diabetes, or other major illnesses. Despite this fact, many people, like my wife for a while, avoid treatment. Shelly Iker understands the stigma and avoidance many people encounter when they are impacted by depression. She also understands the devastation that accompanies having anxiety disorder. What used to be her perceived weakness has now become one of her greatest strengths. Shelly uses her illness to shape her comedy routine, entertaining the audience but also informing them about mental health. We are so happy that Shelly has joined us for this event and that she was willing to share her story with us, one she calls A Funny Thing About Depression. Please welcome comedian Shelly Iker to the podium. Shelly.
Thank you, Brendan. I feel like I know you since I eat dinner with you every night. It's so weird. You're just like my husband. You don't talk to me either. Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your evening. My name is Shelly Iker, and I am really happy to be here. Excuse me if I sound a little nasally. I've been fighting this sinus infection since 1965. Why do we live here? I have been taking NyQuil, and I must admit, I do enjoy it as a liqueur. I think they should sell that stuff at the party stores. As a little stress reliever, I was going to do that picture the audience in their underwear thing. But after getting a good look at this group, that ain't going to work for me. Because I get nauseated really easily. So I guess I'll just have to wing it. When the Mental Health Board asked if I would like to be part of tonight's festivities, I just assumed that I would be the grand prize of the silent auction. I just knew for a chance to take me out to dinner, men would bid thousands. Okay, hundreds. All right, maybe $20. But oddly enough, that wasn't the plan. The board said they wanted me to talk about my terrible, painful struggle with depression and anxiety, and they wanted me to make it funny. Alrighty then. But after I thought about it, I realized I couldn't have made it through the past few years without a sense of humor. It literally saved my life. After all, laughing does release endorphins, and I needed all the endorphins I could get. Okay, I know you're dying to hear all about me, so let's get started. I am the second of 4 children, so that makes me the wacky yet wonderful middle child. I am 3/4 Italian, half German, and not good with fractions. My dad's name is Guido. Yes, that really is his name, and yes, he is in the parking lot, so I suggest you have to hold on. I have a younger brother, Barry, who sent me the sweetest email this morning. Shelly, good luck with the speech tonight. Break a leg, an elbow, a foot, and your pelvis. I don't know if he wanted me to do really well or the goober needs some therapy. I guess I should have brought him with me here tonight. Of course, he is the one who always wanted to be an astronaut, and he's almost there. He has that ass part down. Not so long ago, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I really couldn't do much of anything. In August of '03, I was diagnosed with panic disorder and depression after 3 trips to the emergency room. Good times. The panic attacks terrified me, and I lived in constant fear of having an attack away from home. So I became almost totally housebound for more than a year. Don't worry, it does get funnier. I think my husband kind of liked the idea of me not leaving the house because then I couldn't go shopping and use my credit card. I became the queen of excuses when people would ask me to go somewhere. I was just too afraid. I compiled a very nice catalog if anyone needs to borrow it. It's entitled An Excuse for Every Occasion. Most days it was a major chore for me to get out of bed. The depression consumed me, and there were times when I didn't know if I could go on because of the pain that was my life. Family members supported me as much as they could, and it was always so helpful when people who had never been depressed or anxious before, my sister, would say, "Shelly, come on, just snap out of it." Oh, who knew? Why in the hell didn't I think of that? But I was afraid to go to the grocery, to the mall, to see a movie, basically to go anywhere. I began to cut dairy out of my diet, and it wasn't because I was lactose intolerant. It was because I was too damn anxious to walk all the way back to the dairy section of Biggs. After seeing me so miserable, my friend suggested maybe a hobby would help. So I started seeing a psychiatrist. Every Tuesday and Thursday night over at the Travel Lodge. It was every Monday and Wednesday. I'll never forget my first visit to my shrink's office. I was sitting in the waiting room and I was so nervous I almost left. And then I told myself, "Shelly, calm down, it'll be okay." My psychiatrist finally came up to me and said, "Shall we?" And I thought, damn, I'm seeing Elmer Fudd. How the hell is this going to work if he can't even say my name right? It wasn't until my next visit I was a little calmer when I realized he'd been saying, "Shall we?" I said, "Let's get started, the clock is ticking." I really did see a psychiatrist, which was a good thing, because it gave me a reason to at least shave my legs once a week. My doctor really was very helpful, but I needed to find some support between appointments, so that's when I decided to look online. I found several support groups sponsored by Mental Health of America, so I started going to the meeting at the Christ Hospital that met twice a month. It was hard for me to drive in to the meeting and to go in and park because I had had a major panic attack in a parking garage. But singing Dancing Queen at the top of my lungs helped me a lot. That's why the security guards always stared at me. As time went by, it became easier for me to go to the support group meetings. People in the support group were so understanding. They knew the nightmare I was living because they were living it too. We helped each other realize that we weren't crazy, we had a disorder, and that we weren't weak, but in fact strong to keep fighting. We learned that we were in control of our thoughts, and that by not dealing with stress, we were making our disorder worse. The group helped me see that I didn't have to be perfect all the time, although I do come pretty damn close, and that it was okay to say no when I wanted to. Man, I should have used that one tonight. One week, the group decided to go see a movie together. We were all so excited until we arrived at the theater and realized we were all too anxious to sit in the middle of the section. Anxious people don't like that feeling of being trapped. So we all sat on the aisle seat, one behind the other. A little awkward maybe, but great for passing the popcorn. The next time we tried, things went much better. We took the steps we needed to fight the fear. Normal people usually don't know what it's like to go through. Normal people at least don't understand what we go through, so that's why the support group was so important. I had 2 bouts of depression prior to 2003. I told no one about what I was going through. I wore the mask of what would they think. But this 3rd time I decided to be more open about my struggle. I was tired of hiding my feelings, tired of wearing the mask. So I talked to my hairstylist and my dentist, and I told them that because of my anxiety, I might need to get out of the chair, run around the room with my arms flailing, singing Copacabana. No problem, they said. As I became more open about what I was going through, I was surprised at the reactions I received. So many people said they had depression, or they had a family member or friend who was suffering too. One woman even told me that she and her dog had anxiety, and they were both on medication. One day she took her dog's meds by mistake. She chased cards afterwards, but she was happy, and it was a great way to keep her toenails straight. Heck, I was so open about my disorders, I even had a t-shirt printed up that said, "Prone to panic attacks, always got me a seat on the bus." and through the checkout quickly. After a while, I started volunteering at Mental Health of America, which is when I met some of the board members. I really need to check the staff out more the next time I volunteer. I was amazed at how many support groups MHA sponsors. They really do reach out to a lot of people. As I started getting pieces of my life back, I decided I would like to travel again, something I hadn't done in years since I had had a major panic attack on an airplane. You haven't lived until you can take an off a plane in a wheelchair with everyone staring at you while the flight attendant announces that everyone must stay seated because of a medical emergency. What a rush. And even better was the awesome sight of the medical team waiting for me with heart paddles in hand. Now that right there would make anybody anxious. So with the coping skills I had learned at the support group meetings and practiced a lot on my own, I was able to travel to Columbus, then Atlanta, and then Pittsburgh for the best reason in the world, to see Barry Manilow. Now, some of you may not view this as a bit of progress, and some of you might even view it as another form of mental illness. But hey, don't mess with me because I am a Manilow. Throughout my life, I've always enjoyed making people laugh. Even the people in the support group told me how much they enjoyed my sense of humor. So in October of 2006, I started taking comedy classes at the Funny Bone. After 8 classes and lots of anxiety, I made it to graduation night, December 7th, a day that will live in infamy for me. I stood on the stage in front of 350 people and did 8 minutes of stand-up. The audience laughed a lot, and I had the best time. Now I perform for charitable organizations or on command. Another awesome thing I get to do is co-lead the anxiety group with Miss Sheila Sims, the group of which I was a member. I am so happy to give back to the group that helped me so much. I never had the opportunity to go to college 100 years ago when I graduated from high school, so I decided to take some classes at Northern Kentucky University. I was thinking I had a pretty good shot at homecoming queen this year. No, I didn't think that was that funny. Anyway, I was in the bookstore and I saw a pair of those cute little shorts with the letters NKU embroidered on the back of them. You know the ones I'm talking about. The shorts are about as big as a postage stamp and they hardly cover the girl's assets. So I asked the guy behind the counter if I could order a pair of the cute little shorts. His eyes kind of